Hello and welcome to Mrs. Keel and Mrs. Kumpel's Google Classroom update. We kind of want to take some time today and just show you how we're using Google Classroom in our rooms, what is actually on there, where you can see feedback from us, from other students, and all the resources that are available. So, the plan is to have you join a fake parent class to kind of walk through the steps of what your child does on a daily basis. Now, of course, remember, your child does this on a daily basis, so feel free to have them help you as we go along through this video because they are the experts. So, the first thing is hopefully you've got a computer on. If you are using a device to do this, completely acceptable, but you will need to download the Google app, Google Classroom, which is a free app, and it looks like this green box right here. I highly recommend for your child's devices uploading all the Google apps. They are free. Google Classroom, of course, Google Drive, which will look like the triangle, Google Docs, which is for Word documents, Google Slides, which is what we know as PowerPoint, and Google Sheets, which we know as Excel. Those are the main ones we use in the classroom. And if they choose to use a device, it's easier if the applications are already there. So I typed into Google. I am personally using Google Chrome to search for things. If you have the option between Chrome and Internet Explorer, choose Google Chrome because it is the same matchup as what we're going to be working in, and you tend to have less technical glitches when you're doing that. So I went to my search bar, I typed in Google Classroom, and I'm going to click on it right here. Now the idea is for you to do this. So go ahead and you are going to, if you have a Google account, you can go ahead and click on it. Otherwise, you can create an account, or you could actually log in as your child if you would like to. I'm going to log in real quick. All right, that should do it. Once you log in to Google, for those of you not familiar, you are going to, since we were choosing Google Classroom, we're going to go straight to Google Classroom. But I call this thing the waffle right here. This is where all the Google apps are. This is where you can get to all of these items right here. And your child does a lot of stuff in their Google Drive. For your child's ELA and reading class, we have been doing our assessments on Google Drive. So they have access to them after the fact. So if you're needing a retest, look back at questions, it is right in their Google Drive. And then once you go into Google Drive, you can get into all those things I just talked about, like documents, PowerPoints, and whatnot. So, but today we're going to start in Google Classroom, and it walks you through it pretty easily. To join your first class, you're going to click the plus sign, and you are going to, in fact, join a class. Now, the class you're going to join has a code. Your child is very familiar with joining class codes. So it is lowercase z, lowercase b, lowercase v, the number 7, the letter S, E, and M. This code is ZBV7SEM. So once you've done that, you're going to click join. And the great thing is once you've joined the class, it will automatically pull you into the class. So you know you've made it if it says fake parent class. Now, a few things to know about the Google Classroom setting and what we've got going on over here. Over here is an area that says topics. This is going to come into play, especially when you have multiple things going on in the class. I almost always try to tag things in all of our subject areas. If it's social studies, if it's science, if it's ELA, if it's reading, that way, if you know the topic you're searching for, then it's easy to bring things up. Right now, there's no topics in your fake parent class, but I will later on show you the reading class or the ELA class or the social studies class and kind of show you how to use that topic's ability. That is the biggest search tool and best way to find things in here. So when you logged in, it streams from the bottom up. So the oldest stuff will be on the bottom, and you'll just go to the bottom of your screen to see what we've got going on. We are currently doing our Cupid Economics project. So one thing that we like to do for the children is to give them what we call announcements. Announcements are not assignments. They're just some way of posting resources and information. So to do that as an example, this is the note that you got through It's Learning. And you know right here that there is an attachment because it shows a little small snippet. It is a Google Docs. So I'm going to click on the words right here. And it's going to go straight to a Google Docs. Google likes to color code everything. So blue item things are Google Docs. And I'm looking for my color codes right here in this corner. And now that you see that the finger is on there, it says Docs Home. If I wanted to create a new document, I would be clicking here. But let's kind of see what we've got going on in here. If it is something that we want your children just to be able to read, we don't want them to edit it or change anything on it, you will see this box come up that says View Only. Now, we do sometimes know that printing things is important, so you do have that option as well. And let's say you want to add this to your Google Drive. You want to have access to it. And this is when I'm speaking you, I'm really speaking as if it's your child. They can always click right here, which says Add to My Drive. And now, not only is it in the Google Classroom, but it's in their Google Drive. So they can open up either one of those to find these resources. Then this letter specifically explains what our project is and has the standards attached. Now, when you get done with the document in Google Classroom, it's going to just hang open unless you actually close it. So I'm going to go ahead and close this right here because I'm done with that. Now, when it's time to complete assignments, assignments are going to have this little clipboard icon right here, and that's one way you know it's an assignment. Now, once you come into the class, sometimes you'll be able to see another small little picture and you can click on that. You can click on the name right here, or what I tell the children to do is go to the open box. That way you're going to have all options. Now, when it comes time that you have completed an assignment, you're going to be using this blue turn in button. Once you turn something in, it is done and it is frozen the way it is. So let's say your child is turning in a writing to me or a math problem to Miss Kumpel. They've typed it up, they're ready, they hit the blue turn in button, and then they realize, oh, I forgot to do something. Well, if they just go back into their Google Drive and adjust it, no changes will be made in the classroom. This is what's nice about taking tests. That way, once we leave the school building, the kids aren't at home, looking up answers and doing things on their test at home. But that's the turn in button. Now, we're not ready to turn anything in just yet. Another thing that's really important, right here you can see not done. If your child says to us, oh, I know I turned it in, the first thing we're going to look at is to see if that not done button is there. If it's still there, they simply did not click the turn in button. If it's not been turned in, it's no different than paper. It's not been turned in. So let's go ahead and see what our assignment is. There's two ways we can do assignments. One is your teacher can assign something to every student. That's what we did here. We gave you this assignment. Now you'll notice that my name popped up here and your child's classroom name is attached to their document. Now, the only downfall is if I go to print something, their name is not attached to it, so it is always important to still add your name. But for grading purposes, if they sometimes are forgetful, it's on there, which is nice. So when you have an assignment, you're going to click on it and see what your teacher's provided. Now, when I've given an assignment, you are able to type, write, and edit on this. Now, this is our assignment. I would love for you to add your name right here. This is something that your child frequently does. Now, I am working in Google Slides, and I know that because Google Slides is always this golden yellow color. And again, the left-hand corner gives you the icon to let you know what you're working in. So after I've done that, if you're just viewing the assignment to see what's going on, depending on how big your device is, you may want to put it in presenter mode. This does not allow you to type or edit, but it allows you to see it in a larger view. So I've now added my name. If I go to my next slide, questions about Google Classroom. Please feel free to type any questions here. Now, let's say, ooh, I've got a great question. If I go to click on it, nothing's going to happen. I'm going to need to slide down to the bottom, and I'm going to need to exit presenter mode. Now I'm back in editing mode, and I know this because I can see my slides over here. If you simply clicked on the word text, delete the word text, you can type your questions here. Now, your students are very familiar with this, and they know all the bells and whistles. Pictures can be added, shapes, lines, changing a font, borders, all of these great things. Occasionally, what does happen on your child's assignment is they accidentally delete the text box. So instead of deleting the word text, they do this and they delete the whole text box, and they start going, oh, there's no text box, I can't type. If that happens, all you do is go up here to the box that has the T in it, click on it, and then add it where you need to, and then you can begin typing again. And you have, you have handlebars, these blue handlebars, where you can enlarge it and move it around. Now, if your child needs to add a slide onto their assignment, this plus sign, you can just click the plus sign and it'll automatically add a slide in. But if you do hit the drop down arrow, you have different types of layouts that you need to have. Now, if your child is simply turning something into me, then what they're going to do is they're going to look back up here, and you see the icon for the classroom that you were in. You're going to click back on that. Now, I've finished what I needed to do, and I can hit the blue turn in button. It will always ask you, are you sure you want to turn in? Just to make sure. And if you'll notice, it says one attachment will be submitted. Let's say, though, I actually go, ooh, wait, I was supposed to add a writing piece to it, or I was supposed to add a video link to it. If you need to do that, you have two options. One, you can add a link, a file, or something from their Google Drive, which is something they frequently do. Or maybe you need to start fresh and you need to create something. Google Drawings is not something we've done a lot with. We do have a few experts in our class that are very familiar with it, and it does give you some more drawing capabilities. But our general classroom use, that is one we are not using. So let's say you had to add a writing assignment. You would click on a blue for Google Docs, and it is now created right here. Then you would click on the hyperlink words, and you could go in and type your assignment. So let's say I've typed again everything I needed to do, and I'm ready for it to go. If you'll notice, when I go to create mode there, again, it attaches the name, it attaches the assignment. So if I choose to type something, now I'm ready to turn both of these items in. Again, I have to go back to my Google Classroom, and I'm going to click the blue turn in button. Now you'll notice I've got both assignments attached. I want to make sure they're both going to be turned in. I'm going to hit this turn in button. It takes just a moment for it to turn in. Once it's done, you'll notice up here you now have a green done check mark. This means I, as a teacher, or Miss Kumpel as a teacher, have been notified that your child has turned in an assignment, and they're able to move on. If that green check mark is not there, it was not submitted. Now, I know some of you have already seen the unsubmit button. This is an option to unsubmit something and make adjustments on there. The problem with the unsubmit button is sometimes I've already started grading, and let's say they decided over the weekend they needed to make changes in things. Unless I've allowed a resubmission, I'm going to have graded the first activity. Now, one nice thing is Google is great about feedback. Right down here, it says add a private comment. If your child wants to send a comment to their teacher, like, I really struggled on this assignment, I'm turning in halfway, I need you to work with me during RTI time. This would be a great place to put this. This is not supposed to just be used as a conversation like, hey, have you had a great weekend? This is more of an academic-based kind of question. Sometimes those students decide that they need to ask a question to the whole class or a whole comment. Maybe they created a resource that they want to share that helped them study. Maybe they've made their own Kahoot or a Quizlet or something like that. Up here, you'll notice add a class comment, and they're going to type it in right here. And once you post, then the whole class will see it. So I'm going to go ahead and post a class comment just so you can see what I'm talking about. And again, it says my name, it says the time. So as we're constantly reminding the children, you are attached to everything. So just make sure we're using those appropriate things. So we have turned in an assignment, we have added an assignment, we've created an assignment, but we have not added an assignment. But it is as simple as going right here and going to your Google Drive or copying and pasting maybe a video link on what needs to happen. One quick thing before I go off the page, remember we did unsubmit. You'll notice I don't have that pretty green check mark anymore. It is very important to make sure things get turned in before you leave the page. But if you don't turn them in and you do leave the page, close out your computer. Google is always in real time, which means nothing is going to be deleted or gone. It will hang out there. It just won't be turned into your teacher. So let's go out of this assignment. And here we are back in the fake classroom. Now you can see right here where I had a class comment. And if you had something to follow up, you can go right here. Again, we are deterring just the general chit-chat conversation. So there are several other types of activities that we do in the classroom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video and I'm going to start a new video to show you your child's actual classrooms and what they can do in there. So I hope this has helped you a lot to kind of navigate and see what they're able to do in the classroom.